Many of us don't own a set of clubs. And what do I mean by that? If we're looking to do anything at a professional level, I showed a picture of Dustin Johnson a little bit earlier. He's mastered his craft. And with respect to the trades, home improvement, if we want to really scale and grow our businesses and be successful in what we're doing, we need to master our craft on every level. It's very difficult to do that if, when you think of marketing, if you're treating marketing the way you would a set of rented clubs. It's hard to become a pro golfer if you pull up to a golf course when you're young and you just say, hey, give me whatever set of clubs you have, right? Sometimes there'll be great clubs, sometimes there won't be great clubs. It's going to be difficult to learn how to hit them. These are blades here, hard to hit. I mean, if you've played golf, you know it takes an enormous amount of practice, and to master the game, it can take a long time. So the idea here, in comparison to marketing, when you're renting, is very, very difficult to scale a business predictably. And so when I mean renting, I'm saying you don't have a way to predictably generate leads. And I'm not knocking on any of the big lead aggregators out there. A lot of them are great, and there's a time and place for it. But at a certain point, a business needs to have a little bit more control with respect to how it goes and generates leads for itself. So renting, you've got fierce competition. A lot of the time, you're not able to build any kind of brand affinity. You end up competing on price, because sometimes if people aren't, they don't necessarily have an intent, or they're not drawn towards your business, they're just looking for a quote, a little bit harder to sell. Oftentimes you don't have data ownership. So, you got some contact info and you try to work that lead. And if you close it, great. But if you don't, very difficult for you to run all sorts of other marketing tactics that can really help you out. You're not necessarily building your brand, and you do have a lot less control, right? When you own, it's very, very, very different. Yes, it's still competitive, but when people are deliberately reaching out to you because they've seen you online, they've watched a video, they've come to your website, your webpage, or what have you, there's an emotional connection that you've successfully built with your brand. So there's already some kind of an interest there. Doesn't mean you've got the deal, but they're interested in you. That in turn means that there may be a little bit less price sensitivity, right? You've also got data ownership. If somebody comes to a website or a landing page, those are one of your assets that you own. It's your house, it's your store. So when you manage to get somebody there, and that likely would have cost you something if you ran a Google ad, a Facebook ad, or something, it doesn't mean that homeowner is going to turn into a lead right away. So you have to anticipate having to get back in front of them. You've all heard of retargeting before. Well, these are things you can do because now you are leveraging your data. People are coming to your website, you're able to get back in front of them. And all of this to say that you're building your brand when you have ownership over your marketing. And that puts you really in the driver's seat. You've got complete control. So here's kind of just a quick example of what I'm referring to when I say warm branded inbound leads. So again, somebody who conducted a search or saw something online, they had an interest, they went to a web page, and they decided to reach out to you. So pay attention to, let's see if you can see my mouse here. So this is an example of leads that can come in for you, and these are messages that people are submitting. So require roof replacement for home and a detached 2-car garage. This came in from Google, and we have the actual search that they performed here. So now this gives you a lot more sort of context in terms of what the person was looking for. They took the time to write you a message. So this is a fairly warm, fairly qualified lead. More examples. Part of the house, roofs have some issues. Some of the roofs came in through Google Pay. They want a new asphalt roof. Need roofing, siding, and windows. Interested in financing. Great. Again, warm, branded, inbound leads. They've been to a web page, took the time to write you a message. There's not much more to say here in terms of contrasting owning versus renting. Any thoughts or questions on any of this, Michael, as I go through here?
No, I'm loving this. The one thing, and then we can get to it later, but how important is it for some of these inbound things that we're getting on our website to have some sort of a thank you page or a trigger on your website that, says, hey, XYZ person submitted or completed the call to action that you're looking for? How important is that for these companies?
It's really important. And the main reason being that on a technical level, when somebody fills out a form on a landing page, when they get to that thank you page, there's usually some tracking code there that would let the marketers know that the action, the desired action, what we're aiming for, which we consider to be conversions, happened. And then that lets us know that that's somebody that we can stop remarketing. And or in many other situations, we may want to market to them, but with a different message. You see, it doesn't mean that because somebody became a lead, it's a sale, right?
Right.
You know, they became a lead. So now maybe instead of trying to get leads, you want to make that sale. So now you could leverage ads that are geared to show the quality of the work that you do. Maybe you're showing tons of customer testimonials, right? So you can trigger these different sequences based on what's happening. So, I mean, this is a tracking question. It's super important. The other thing too, if you've ever shopped online before and you know, you're eyeing a certain product, you're checking out online, you're seeing it everywhere because obviously they're retargeting you. You buy the product, and then for the next couple of months, you're still seeing that product everywhere. That's something that you want to try to avoid.